What? All right,
Boom.
what up? It's Fightologists. We coming back at you with another podcast, talk about everything in the combat sports world, MMA, jiu-jitsu, and stand-up. My name is Imani Mulai, and I'm here with my partner. What's up, man?
Joshua Peters, what's going on, brother?
Everything is peace. Everything is love. Still in
Yep.
quarantine life. The only thing I'm choking out is my couch. I don't know. How's everything going with you?
Well, I have defeated Pornhub.
You got to the
I
final
got
boss
to
in
the last
Pornhub.
boss.
Yeah, you beat every level. You got all the Easter eggs. You got everything out of
The
Pornhub.
Easter eggs, I go into the credits, everything. There's some bonus levels. There's some other things that you click the screen. I'm telling you.
Oh man, I'm glad you're staying sane. And it's if people don't know, well, you already know we're on lockdown, we're on quarantine. We're starting to move into the phase section of things where you can actually do stuff now. You can go places. And Josh, you have your own school, jiu-jitsu school, MMA school, really, because you guys beat people
Yeah,
up
everything.
for fun. Yeah, but you are
When
in
we
that
beat
early.
the meat, it takes on a different meaning.
the world champion, the welterweight meat beating champion of the world.
Welterweight. Hold on. I didn't put that much weight on it, have I? Goddamn. I went from
Hey.
rooster to welterweight. Were you at GSP? What up?
Yeah, no, but for real, you're a teacher and you're in this early phase where you're actually teaching. What's that like?
So right now, basically three things I do: outdoor conditioning and kickboxing classes, and I also do Zoom, some Zoom classes. Like if the weather's bad, and once in a while, I'll fit that into the schedule if my students ask for it.
All right, man. So we're moving slowly back into reality. Just
Something like that.
you'll be choking
Yeah.
people and doing all the dick kicks in the world as soon as everybody's ready.
People, honestly, they're gonna drive by and think like I'm trying to get bum fights started again.
Well, speaking of bum fights, guess who's calling out people again?
Man.
Conor McGregor. First, he made his GOAT video. His GOAT
oh my
post where he's
God.
talking about
And he's number
John
2
Jones.
GOAT.
He's the number 2 GOAT. Right under John Jones, but he put an asterisk since John Jones popped. He should be number 1, but he's going to give it to him. He put Conor McGregor. He put Anderson Silva in there. He put GSP in there, and now Silva called him out like, "Let's do a fight, catch weight 176," and apparently Conor said, "Let's do it."
Yes. Yeah.
And
Man, he's gonna bring a dolly to this.
That's going to be cornering him. Dolly's going to be in his corner.
Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, do you think, A, is this even going to happen, for one? And B, if it doesn't happen, is Conor crazy? Who he should be fighting? What should he be doing right now instead of calling people out?
I promise you, Dana White just nutted in his pants when Anderson Silva did that. Dog, it's
No way.
All right,
No
look,
way.
The Anderson Silva's lost his last 2 or 3 fights. He's not as much like 2 years ago he beat McGregor. I'm sorry. Now he's not doing that on 1.5 legs. It's a great payday for both of them. Hopefully he can retire with like the majority of his brain cells that are left intact after this, and and he can go on his merry way, and he can do a jiu-jitsu with Ricardo de la Riva, and McGregor can do some touch butt, and things will be what it is. I mean,
no, shut it down. No, that's not. Anderson Silva, he fought at light heavyweight. People act like Conor is some mystical figure. No, he is a lightweight.
Yeah, exactly.
He is a lightweight.
So he's gonna eat. Shit. What are they eating in Ireland? A lot of potatoes. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of potatoes. Maybe that corned beef hash or something, or yeah, they like corned beef.
No, he can't do this. He's going to put on that BJ Penn fat to go up in weight class. That's not competition stuff. Your body can only hold so much weight effectively and efficiently, especially as a combat sport.
Yeah.
You can't put on all that weight and expect to be the same Conor we know.
He did that a little bit with Diaz when he fought at 170, but it's such a different fight. Even though they're both strikers, I don't know. Like,
no, I mean the weight. There's no way you could do. If any, I mean, think about it. Back in the day, they wouldn't even put GSP versus Silva.
I know,
of the weight difference.
And the way, I mean, Silva didn't want to cut down that much, and GSP didn't want to go up that much.
So I don't think it's going to happen.
Hold on.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. I have a little. I got brother Splinter here.
Oh, nice.
But he's
No, but what I'm saying is, the better fight for me would be and this won't happen either, but the better fight would be Conor versus GSP. 170, you know.
Yep.
But nobody's talking about that. They was like, oh, Silva. Let's do Silva. Let's do what's it? Kamaru Usman, which is even dumber. How about
Usman would murder him? Good
oh
God
my
Almighty!
He's not accepting that fight, is he? Conor said yes to Silva. He didn't say yes to Usman.
Yeah, he's not stupid.
So what's wrong with the GSP fight? I mean, it's a perfect fight because the UFC doesn't want to book GSP anymore because he gets titles, he vacates them. Conor doesn't have a title. He can beat him and go back into retirement.
And GSP, honestly, I don't think GSP has any more interest in fighting. I just don't think he's. I don't think he's mentally there. He's had a bunch of health issues. He had like some sort of gut issue. So
that was from putting on too much weight. Now, the last time we heard from him and his coach Faraz said the only thing that would bring him out of retirement is Conor. The only thing that made sense for us as his podcast, he even said it right there. Yeah. It's like, that's the money. That's the perfect fight. There's no title on the line, so you don't get into all the politics about vacating titles. I mean, that's
it'd
be
fun. It'd be interesting because GSP's slower than Conor. He's more well-rounded, but he's a lot more shop-worn. I mean, that Johnny Hendricks fight must have took a couple of years off of his life, and he's obviously just not the. I mean, he's the martial artist he was, but he's not the athlete he was. It's just time is a savage motherfucker.
He's still bigger than.
He's still
Conor.
bigger.
He's still bigger than Conor. So that adds something.
It's something I'm not sure if the size. I think honestly, the difference in athleticism where they are at their point in their lives would be a bigger issue.
But wasn't that the knock on Conor? His athleticism. He can't go too long. Yeah, he'll either start strong and then dip.
Yep. Where GSP can maintain, but man, those first if it's a 5-round fight. They got probably if it's a 3-round fight, Conor can go hard for at least 2.5 rounds.
Yeah, 2.5, and then he gets worn out. That was the whole thing with Diaz, though. It was like, even though Conor can touch you, he's more athletic. He can hit you. Yep. Yeah, he couldn't put Diaz down, and he said he couldn't do it because of the weight. He said hitting a bigger guy, you can hit him just as hard as a smaller guy, and it's just not going to make the same impact.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. To be honest, I'm not terribly interested in seeing that. I think that's almost kind of a statement on where there's so much more going on in welterweight at 170.
Well, all right, then we're
it doesn't tickle me pickle.
Well, nothing does with this dude, Conor. He's not a champion. He's not even on a winning streak. So I don't.
And he's dangerous. It's interesting because he still is obviously very dangerous. The way he just murked 6-7 people getting through, but I mean.
Hold up, I take that back. He did beat Cerrone. That was his last
he beat Cerrone. Yeah, he shoulder knocked his head into oblivion. So he's still dangerous, but it's I don't know. Against GSP. I'm not that interested. I'd like to see Conor against some of the other 170ers. I'd like to see that.
Kamaru Usman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he'll be wrapped up in a 10.
What 185? I mean.
No, Kamaru Usman.
Yeah.
Who's the 170 champion? Yeah, 170. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Let him fight someone closer to his level.
All right, that's what you're saying. Well, we'll see what happens after that. I mean, we could talk about some more stuff because the UFC has been going on. They're one of the few organizations going on. We'll talk about that later, about who's fighting and who's not. But the big issue was corner stoppages. That was the issue that we had in the last fight. We had Glover Teixeira versus Anthony Smith. A lot of people said that should be stopped. We had another fight.
Beat his teeth out.
What was it? Tony Ferguson and Justin Gaethje fight. People he had enough. So you've actually been in there, not only inside the cage, but you've been in the corner. What do you think about that? When do you stop a fight?
So I always talk with my fighters well before the event. You're not talking about this shit at the event. And when they get to the event, they're like, you're going to let me die on that sword. And if my fighter is not telling me, listen, I'm ready to go out there and die, I'd be in my mind to possibly pull him out. Then you have to go in there with that attitude if you're the fighter. But that's why you have coaches, hopefully, who care about you. And I tell people, listen, I'm not bringing anyone there to take a senseless beating. If something's very, very close, and I think you have a decent shot that goes on, but when it starts becoming one-sided, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, then, and it looks to me like there isn't a realistic chance, possible and probable. There's not a probable chance of you really coming back. I do not have a problem saying, listen, we're done. Because for what? Even if it was a title fight in UFC, there are some things that money are not going to compensate you for. And so you really have to decide that, and you have to know your fighter. This is one of the reasons I will never corner someone I have not trained with. This is very important to me. I have got to have rolled, sparred, held mitts for, done conditioning with. I've got to see these people at every phase, mentally and physically. So I know what there's, because everyone has little signs that they start getting like a big one. Obviously was it was a fourth or fifth round with Tony Ferguson where he got hit and he just kind of turned away unintentionally. That was him. He got hit and he went like that. He was saying that's him physically saying I'm really kind of done here. So you got to know that for your fighter.
Yeah. So like, what would you describe as like a bad? Well, you already gave me a bad example, but it's like, does that mean that the coaches don't care about them, or they're just not educated enough? I mean, it's kind of hard to say.
It's very hard to say because I'm not in that corner, and with the first fight we talked about, my brain is just gone to hell. This is what happens when you're inside your house too much. With
we had Glover Teixeira and
with the sheriff, and Anthony told him, if you stop my fight, I'm not going to stand next to you. I'll fire you. So
yeah, that's true.
I mean, I hope that wasn't something he said. And and I don't like to comment on dynamics of things that I am not privy to and I'm not there for. But who knows? It's the same reason. Like, we have Mike Tyson. We're going to talk about later. We're going to make another fight at 54. You've got to just have people who are able to see through the ego at the time for either the gravity of the harm versus the utility of the good. What is going to be the possible positive and negative consequences from the decisions you make? If you really value yourself as a coach, if you really, put that above, say, even the friendship you might have with that fighter, you might have to be willing to do something that fighter is going to disagree with. Because, of course, they're going in there ready to die. Every time I stepped in the cage or the ring or the mats, I'm ready for whatever consequences come. But that's also why I always make sure the people cornering me are going to be a little bit more level-headed than I am that day.
All right, you got it, man. I ain't got too much to say about that.
I mean, it's
so I think you on it. I think you said enough. We get the idea. It's just now it's sort of when we see it, how we react to it, what we attribute to it. You never know.
And there's a culture thing I just want to bring up because I have a boxing coach in my gym, Anthony Hamilton, and in boxing there's much less of this stigma of if your corner throwing in the towel and they don't believe in you or you're being a coward or whatever. And that's really yet to pervade in mixed martial arts, partially because, you always have the chance of a submission or a knockout from some form or another, right? More boxing.
Hot take. That's an MMA thing. Hot take.
I'm going to tell you. So, I really think eventually, though, there's going to come a culture within the sport of itself that's going to have to accept that the very real possibility of damaging someone's career and their long-term health after fighting is going to have to be balanced with whatever possibility of winning and losing is presenting itself in the arena at the time.
All right, cool. Let's move on.
So sir.
Let's talk about these fight organizations. Some are putting on events, some aren't. We were just talking about Muay Thai, one of the most pervasive stand-up sports in the world, because for one, it's the national sport of Thailand, but they're not even putting on fights.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about organizations that choose to put on events and during this time versus ones that don't?
This is such a complicated question. I want to make sure I really get my words right.
Well, let me help you out with a few people putting on events. Of course, I think WWE was actually the first.
Yeah.
WWE they had events without audiences. The UFC, of course, they started back up. They were down to the wire. They had to get shut down, and when they got back up, they were full of force. They're opening up the Apex Center, which brings up a whole bunch of other options, and Fight Island, and all that stuff. But boxing, no. Boxing,
USA Boxing shut all that down.
Muay Thai, like we said, in Thailand, and and that's their national sport. That's their baseball. Shut it down, all that stuff. And jiu-jitsu is sort of a mixed bag. IBJJF, the big organization, the umbrella, is saying no, we're going to push it back. While the smaller, like Fight to Win is a perfect example. That's a pro event. You know, they do things through Flow
It's a
Grappling.
big event.
And it's an awesome event. And I think they put on, 2 or 3 already?
Yeah, they had 2 with a third going on this last weekend they had Edwin Najimy fought Ben Henderson for the title of whatever, I forgot what weight they're competing at. Of course, Edwin Najimy flying triangled Ben Henderson. I mean, Ben Henderson's amazing MMA grappler and he's a black belt, but Edwin Najimy's competitive jiu-jitsu black belt. There's, levels to this shit.
So do you think these events should be going on or not?
The Fight to Win, I am a bit more comfortable with that. They don't quite. One is the staff requirement. It's not. So we're going to break this down. What's required to run these events? WWE and probably maybe more so because I don't know. Obviously, every single person that needs to be there to run a WWE or a UFC event, but I'm guessing it's a couple hundred people, and most of them can't be physically distanced. With Fight to Win, there's significantly less people involved in both the setup, production, and breakdown. I'd be more comfortable with that, if they are doing, assuming we're doing testing and they're following the protocols that they set forth. They developed good protocols that are checked by doctors and and industry professionals within, medicine and infectious disease and all that. And they're being followed. Like, there's an acceptable risk. And then because Fight to Win is different than WWE and UFC, in which in both the WWE and the UFC, you're basically an independent contractor, but you're still kind of contracted to a certain number of fights each organization or time length, or however the contracts are done in WWE. I don't really know, but it's not like Fight to Win, where you can just tell Seth, and I'm sure you respect it, listen, I'm just not comfortable competing right now, and you're not going to get blackballed and get your career stonewalled.
Yeah, I want to talk about that because that was a big issue with the UFC. Yeah. They were having a problem with Stipe Miocic.
Yeah, a firefighter.
A firefighter during a national crisis. They're like, why aren't you fighting? It's like, I don't know. I'm one of the first responders. How about that? And so that was actually an issue, which really rubs me wrong,
100%. And Max Holloway actually put a statement out a couple days ago. He goes, what I'm doing in that cage is hundreds of times more dangerous than COVID-19. It's not even comparable. And I'm willing to accept that risk. But I could get sick, not know it, get my grandmother sick, and she may not recover from that. I couldn't live with myself if that happened.
That's good to say.
And that's part of, that's what makes this whole COVID situation so unique, is that you could have it and not be sick, not show any symptoms, and then give it to someone else and they could die or have their lives severely altered with, lung capacity change. So it's hard.
It's the risk worth it? I guess that's what I'm asking.
Exactly. And I guess my answer is going to show the problem with how America handled this as opposed to Japan. Who am I to say what someone else's risk is for? But on the other hand, we're kind of all in this together. Like, why did Japan just really open up this week with only 870-something deaths? Because day one, they locked everything down. They shut everything down. Boom. They didn't have to do so. They just shut everything down. So they were able to get through and let the virus work its way out. They're not allowing anyone to travel into the country, right? Everything's locked out, but they're able to reopen.
Well,
because individualism,
because
individualism, same thing kind of in Thailand. They understand sort of the collective over the individual, where that is antithetical to America as a whole. You see everything going on all over the place in the news and things not related to martial arts.
Yeah, it's every man for himself.
Yeah, and I'd like to say something like Fight to Win is good. So I've competed. I like Seth. I think he's done amazing things for the sport. And from what I understand, he hasn't put any pressure on. And I don't know any fighter who said no, any jiu-jitsu guy. So I think that allows it. I think it's the pressure that the UFC or the WWE could exert on their athletes and their performers, whatever. I think that's what starts changing it.
I see what you're saying. It's like it's available and you can do it, but it's like if you don't do it, you don't get the scarlet letter on your chest.
Exactly, and that's.
I see what you're saying.
That's what makes it.
Bro.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's the situation. It's not a cut and dry. It's not a yes or no answer. It's the situation that you're in. It's like if you
Yeah.
have a choice, that's one thing. If you're like have half of a choice or a pressured choice, that's a different situation altogether. All
Absolutely.
right.
Like you're able to work from home, right? Just to explore this for a second.
Yeah.
You're able to work from home for your job. It's
Yeah.
different if your job said, listen, if you want to, you can show up come into the office and do stuff. If not, that's cool. Keep doing it. As well as listen, you're gonna have to start showing up now. If not, we're gonna have to have a talk with HR.
Exactly. No,
Right?
no. I
That's
think you summed it up pretty good, man. Yeah.
yeah.
Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Yeah. So next up, so that's it pretty much for the MMA world. We didn't touch too much on what the UFC is up to. You know, we spoke about this before. They got the Apex Center. They got Fight
Mm-hmm.
Island. You know, we got pros and cons of both. But
Mackenzie Dern's fighting again. See if she'll make weight.
see if she'll speak English.
Yeah. You know,
See what language she speaks.
Yeah,
Really?
I mean, and with that, like smaller, they're going to start using smaller octagons for some of these events. Back to like the early UFC, Hoyce wanted the super small one, something like a 12-foot cage. I mean, of course, but do you look at the WEC use a smaller cage that was also comparable to the fight nights that the UFC would put on at the Hard Rock Cafe and Casino and the one they would do in Florida, and they had a lot more finishes. And I think that makes it kind of interesting what to go on, because say you're a striker and they offer you, I don't know, Damian Maya, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they say, but it's going to be in the smaller. It's going to be in the smaller octagon, the 24-foot one instead of the 30-foot one. You know, I'm not exactly sure what the dimensions are, but you know, it changes. Do I want to accept this now? Do I ask? Do I say I'll take it, but if it's later in one of the larger venues, because it changes your tactics, it changes your approach. Yeah, you know, kind of like Joe Rogan talk about it. He thinks they should take place on a football field. So
that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I think it's fucking retarded. But
put in the football field.
Look, I'm 120% agreeing with you. But when you do start changing the size of the arena, it does change how you approach it and who you might be quicker to say yes or no to.
Now imagine that Israel Adesanya versus Yoel Romero on the football fild. I would have threw my popcorn at that. Would have been horrible.
I would have time to make my own caramel popcorn.
Exactly.
No, it would have been absolutely. I agree with you, but because it is a factor and it's now something that's coming back into play with using smaller octagons again. I think it's something that's interesting because it adds another element. You know, in boxing, you saw this what size rings they have, and that's all. That's just two people punching each other. That's all they can do. And some people are infighters. You know, they can cut the ring off. I'm going to get in and work in. Like, you got Mickey Ward or Torrigotti. Like, imagine if that took place at a football field. They probably would still be neck and neck trying to beat the crap out of each other. But it changes. The battlefield can shape the engagement.
All right, sounds good.
Sun Tzu Art of War.
Well, we talked about boxing. Well, you talk about Sun Tzu too. I don't think he was Golden Gloves boxing champion. Nope. But you did talk about boxing, so we're going to get into big story.
Ferocious.
We're going to talk about Mickey T's, Mike Tyson, of course, man. Well, okay, so we all saw the footage of him training, and then you got the old folks brigade. You got the Expendables out there now. Evander Holyfield, everybody is out there joining on the webcam hitting mitts.
We have 10 seconds of him hitting mitts, if that.
He probably passed out after that 10 seconds. He was probably on the couch.
God damn it, give me a blunt. Smoke this shit for Mickey.
I mean, I have my personal feelings about this. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I like it 0, period. First, I'm going to tell you why I don't like it, for one. Since he got out of boxing, he got out of jail, and the whole Evander Holyfield biting his ear, all that stuff happened. He ate his kids. We all know about that stuff. But then after that, he had his one-man show. He was doing all this stuff. He had his documentary. And he was like, he finally found peace. He said like, okay, boxing brought the worst out of me. I mean, because to Gus's credit, it was like he taught him how to be mindless in there almost. He taught him how to be a machine, a robot, and it brought out the animal in him, and that made him a good boxer because he was fearless. He had the mental strength along with the physical capabilities to beat anybody without question. That wasn't even a question to him. So that made him a monster in a lot of ways, especially when the money came in with it. And then when he got away from that, he was like, he's finally at peace. He's finally like the monster's not here. And then so I see this video online where he said, the gods of war have awakened in me again. I found that hunger. I'm back. I didn't see him. I saw the monster. I didn't see the guy that was on the one-man show talking about his personal experiences and how
bad he had hot boxing.
Exactly. I saw a demon emerging, and I don't think that's healthy for him. I related it to Rick James. Mm-hmm. Rick James is cool. He was off of drugs. He was off all that stuff. He was out of the light. And all of a sudden, Rick James, bitch, was back in the spotlight. And what happened?
And he's dead. At
so
the one marijuanas.
Yeah, see, I'm not projecting that, but I'm saying that's the pattern. He got out.
No, that's the thing. And with his first trainer, Tyson had not just a coach but a mentor. And who's mentoring him now? Like when that beast does reawaken, like I think there's that moral side to talk about. And then we also have like what happens when you're 54, right?
Yeah, let's hear about that.
There's who's around him, because I am 90% sure this is not just him talking. I mean, he's doing all right. He has his weed ranch. He has all these other things going on in his life. He has his kids. It's a beautiful thing, and he's doing fantastic. He doesn't need to go back and become this ferocious monster that unleashes hell upon people and has sex with thousands of women a day.
I know. He's free. He's like, he's good. But no. So somebody put up the pads. What is it? Andre Pedernera's put up the pads for him. He was like,
the guy from Black House. I enters the Silver's team.
Andre Pedernera's.
No, it's Andre Pedernera's.
Oh, not okay. Well, somebody.
Rafael Cordero.
You're right. My bad. Yeah, no. But so he got these MMA guys around him. He came out to a professional wrestling AEW with MMA guys. He's in the fire now. Oh, and he's getting offered fights, bare knuckle fights. Tito Ortiz. Who else?
Ken Shamrock.
Oh my. Shannon Briggs.
Yep.
Everybody's like, and everybody's getting offered money.
Shannon Briggs actually said it, but he didn't want, So let's talk about something real quick. Let's just talk. Well, so let's talk about the physical now, because now we're talking about opponents. Yeah. He's 54 years old. So when this first came out, the very first name floated was some rugby player from England, which I don't give a shit, 54-year-old Mike Tyson or not. Mike Tyson would knock the living shit out of him and would probably really hurt him. He's not going to do an exhibition going, 30%. Right, you're going to touch Mike Tyson once, and Mike Tyson's going to bite your head off. So then what do? Do you match him up with Evander Holyfield so he can go maybe avenge his other two losses? Because he's going to want to beat him again. And Evander Holyfield looked terrible. I mean, even just on the mitts, he looked terrible. He looked slow. Do you match him with someone like Shannon Briggs, who's closer to that age? Who's like, I think Shannon's in his 40s? Mid-late 40s, maybe early 50s, like Tyson. But, he's close comparatively there. But he's not a shop worn, and he's been in. Shannon's been training, even when his last fight fell through because he popped hot.
Yeah.
I mean, you put him in there who could legitimately hurt Tyson. Come on, you get two Brownsville people in there.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
No one wants to see Tyson. Yeah, Tyson. You don't want to see.
Yeah, what if he gets hurt? Yeah,
exactly.
I didn't even think about that.
But then it's. And your brain shrinks. Once you get past your mid-30s, your brain starts shrinking. Your reflex, there's things that happen that you're just going to be slower. And then these people talk, man, he looks like he can knock out people still. Yeah, he could. He could come to my gym and probably knock the shit out of me. But I mean, do you want him to either beat up someone who has no business there, or really legitimately risk getting hurt? Because that's the two options you're looking at. You're not looking at a nice competitive match. For Down syndrome kids or something. It's not going to be that.
Well, and that's the biggest issue that I have. Nobody's saying any of that. All they're saying is, cool, we get to see Mike fight again. They're not talking about his personal life. They're not talking about his opponents, his health, his age. They're like, cool, we get to see another Mike fight. That's all people are caring about. Yeah,
and they make excuses for that. Here's the worst thing. Oh, man, it's his life. Let him live it the way he wants. It might be your life, but you're not always living it on your own accord. You're not always acting necessarily under your own wishes. Those things, as we know, can be easily influenced by people. Like, look how easily people can be influenced by people they don't even know, like in Twitter or whatever. Like I watch Talib Kweli. He loves to argue on Twitter with white supremacists and stuff, which I don't know what he thinks he's doing. I enjoyed a good fight, but it's not changing anything. Like, but people get influenced.
Yeah,
but I don't want to see that, man. Let that man be happy. And slap whoever's talking that shit, or make whoever has this in his mind that Tyson should do a charity match. Why don't he step in there with him? And I do want to see Frank or Ken Shamrock, who got knocked out by Hoist, got his nuts checked and then his brain checked. Do we really want to see that shit?
Yes, the answer is yes. The answer is
yes.
You will watch it. I will watch it. The answer
I
is yes.
hate you, and you're no longer my friend. Because God damn it, you're right. But it's like. But if it's not there, I'm not going to miss it. And I'll be happy. I want to be at peace with myself. We all going to die one day, and I don't want to be like they're 90, maybe, or 80, whatever it is. Like, damn, I bought that Tyson comeback match. I saw that man get fucked up.
Yeah, man. When you say it like that, it's like, yeah, man. Be on the right side of history, folks.
Exactly, like Bernie Sanders. Once again, I am asking for your support to stop the madness.
Don't make Tyson fight.
Yeah, don't make... Brother Tyson.
All right, so that's cool. I mean, so we pretty much got through most of the news. It's not a whole lot, but here's a personal topic that I want to talk about.
Yes, sir.
Because I heard Heron talk about this online, and it kind of rubbed me a little wrong because, I've seen a different side of this. But his thing was, why do people quit jiu-jitsu? And him and his brother both preach the same thing about why people quit jiu-jitsu. They boil it down to, you compare yourself to other people in the gym, you get discouraged, you leave. That's what they say.
Okay.
And then, like, I have a whole different perspective on that. First, I mean, I want to know what you have to say because I know you love them. You believe everything that comes out of their mouths. You're big supporters of those two. Hold on.
I'm going to get this right. Hold on. You ready? Guys! In 1942, when my father invented breathing in jiu-jitsu.
Oh, man. So, Mr. Henner, why do people quit jiu-jitsu?
Blow your mind. Man, because it is just like what we're talking about with the COVID situation and events putting things out. It is not a one-size-fits-all. There are some people who are ultra competitive and find out they can't hang. Of course, yeah, those people quit. There's people, money. I don't see them saying, hey, yeah, man, you can come train for free. Money's huge, man, and people say, "Oh yeah, money for this, money for that." It's not the same. Jiu-jitsu. Like, I run a cheap gym. My gym is on the cheap side. I have unlimited training. You're not paying $200-$300 a month. But the most I ask right now, if you're on any one of my commitments or the contracts, whatever language you want to use, it's like $140. That's the least. It goes up to $180 if you're doing or $185 if you're doing month to month. That's still probably $20 to $30 less the month to month than most people are asking to train 2 to 3 times a week and commit to a year. It's a lot of money. And if $140 a month before the government lockdown and all this other shit that people are going to say, oh yeah, but of course you're saying that because people well before that, when the economy was good and we was on this choo-choo train, yeah. That was still a lot of money to ask. To a lot of people, that's still a lot of money to ask. And I always try to keep that front and center. Sometimes life gets in the way and you just do not have those funds. And a lot of times that's happening because there's extra work or family commitments or there's sickness or a myriad other things. Like I have a lot of people train at my gym for free. And sometimes they can't even make it in because life comes up or you get injured. Like you might get a serious knee injury or a neck injury, God forbid, or a back injury, and just say like, all right, listen. And because also once something gets injured, it's more likely to get re-injured. And that compounds and compounds and compounds. It is just not worth the quality of life risk that I'm taking of doing this. I can do other things that may not bring me the same, I don't like to say same amount, but it brings me another sense of satisfaction or fulfillment or whatever jiu-jitsu is bringing to them. And I can do that without the risk involved. Sometimes you just lose interest. I've done this for a couple years. Cool. I don't love it enough to continue to commit to it. That's fine too. If there's so many different reasons. Maybe your coach is an asshole. Maybe I've had students from other schools who were treated inappropriately, and they couldn't get over that. Maybe you had other experiences that colored it. So that this whole thing of they're just comparing us to other people in the gym. I understand they're saying that because they're business people and they want to color jiu-jitsu as something that's for everyone all the time. That's bullshit. It's something, and I'm sorry to go on this little tirade. It is. No, I think jiu-jitsu for like 6 months, a year, maybe 2 years is for everyone. Yeah, absolutely could be, but after that, it takes a lot. There's a reason. Who the hell graduates from, say, getting their bachelor's degree and just keeps on taking courses for shits and giggles? You move on. You got what you needed, and you move on. Maybe you wanted to know, all right, I know some basic self-defense. I know how to kind of some things to do. And please, for people watching, don't think this is what I'm advocating. I'm just giving some scenarios because I'm going to get some shit for this. I know enough, and I feel good. I got what I wanted from it. And I didn't find any deeper meaning or to myself. Because not everyone's me. I've been in martial arts since 1989. And well before I was making a living on it, it's something that I found deeply motivating and impactful on me. But I can never expect you, my dog, anyone to be me. I am me, and I will never hold anyone to have the same beliefs or drive or whatever. Just as I suck at art and I don't enjoy it.
You want to compare me to your dog? Is that how we doing this show now?
That's my dog. Don't do that. You ain't gonna be happy.
No, I 100% agree with you. I like the way I put it though. I try to make some sense out of it. I think all the reasons you say are valid, but the reason why they don't come in with that same attitude is because the return on investment. On day one, your life changes. That's a huge return on investment. The money, the time you spent to get there, the time away from your family, it's worth it in the beginning. Your life changes. Your life is changing. And for months, maybe even a couple of years, like you said, you are changing your life. You're developing skills. I remember my brother, he came into his first jiu-jitsu class, learned the triangle. That was it. He said, I don't like this. This is not for me. He got into a fight in triangle, the kid. Like day one, he learned a skill that saved his life. That saved his life. Yeah. So the return on investment is huge. And then, once you start getting up there and you start learning all this stuff and you start making huge advances, because you're going from zero to something. So huge advances. And then
these huge leaps.
Yeah. And then eventually you get to that point where it's like, okay, I'm doing good. Some days I'm doing bad some days. And then you get to that some point where it's like, okay, that 1% better every day. Today I went in, I grinded out, I got 1% better. But if you have to ask yourself, is that return on investment paying off? Is that 1% better equal to that time you're spending away from your family, from the time you're spending away from making money other places, from the time you spend away from that? For some people, the answer is yes. For some people, the answer is no. That's why a lot of these business people, these people running these fight organizations, they don't train no more because they're like, the return on investment. I need to spend my time and energy on this other thing.
Yep, 100%. 1% for you might be huge, knowing that, oh man, I learned this one little detail that makes my triangle 0.25% more lethal, and that's the difference. Other people are like, like I said, I got what I needed from it. I'm just not getting that anymore. Not everyone needs to be a black belt or a blue belt even. You might just want to pick up some cool tricks and some stuff, and you feel more confident.
Yeah. I mean, so I think if I had the one thing to offer, it's like, if you can offer more return on investment than saying you'll get it when you get your black belt, you'll understand.
That's being a shitty coach, and that's being a dishonest salesperson, I feel. KRS-One has a great quote on his self-titled CD. He says, sell an image, don't sell a records. Records end up in the discount bin for 50 cents. If you're going to sell jiu-jitsu, any martial art, if you're really looking to turn as many people into lifelong martial artists, you have to sell the journey, not the product. What I hope when people come in, I want them to most people are never going to want to compete once in their life. They just don't want that for whatever X amount of reasons. But what my students have told me, especially like through this lockdown, they miss the family. They miss the camaraderie. That to them is almost more important than whatever it is they're learning. So, and if you need to just say, oh man, you're just going to get 1% better, guess what? You've done a shitty job of creating a positive gym culture. You need to create that culture that supports each other. And maybe I want to, maybe I don't want to be a black belt, or it's like not my goal, right? But I want to continue in martial arts.
I want to continue hanging out with I want to continue hanging out with my friends. I want to see my friends every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's like they're saying that. I'm sorry if they're saying that's, to me, that's almost coded for there's a shitty gym culture. If it's not, obviously financial, logistical, or whatever.
All right, man. I think we said our piece. I don't want to say too more because I don't want to see the comments. But we can talk about this next.
No, speak on it, brother. Come on, we got. First of all, this is why we have started Hotep Jiu-Jitsu. But straight from the mothership, we have created jiu-jitsu for the people that are here to liberate you from the repressive mechanisms of modern society. So speak on it.
The IBJJFKKK. We're not dealing with you people anymore. No, just no. It's all good.
Geese.
Why the geese gotta be white?
Yep.
No, it's all
white
good.
Robes.
Oh man, we're gonna get out of here before we go down the hill. And plus, we're coming up on the hour mark anyway. I gotta go talk some people in. So that's all good, bro. Thanks for hanging out with me again. We're gonna do this again.
Oh, it's been great. Like, comment, subscribe, notify, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, all that. Get at me. Look. This episode was sponsored by Life, a lot of caffeine, and maybe even some drugs. We're looking for sponsorships for all of them. So come on, support the next big podcast.
Fightologists out. Peace.
Peace.